welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, an entrepreneur in Fuego. I'm so excited to share with you something that everybody needs. And I mean, it's a huge asset to business, to your home life. I have Andrea Brundage. How do you say last name?
Brundage.
Brundage. So, Andrea has a company that you started 5 years ago, right?
Well, I actually started it longer than that ago, but I've been in the Valley active for the last 5 years, just going into my 5th year.
And she's going to her 5th year, and she is a professional organizer, and she does tons of marvelous work for business owners. Tell me more about it. How did you get into this niche? Because there's not many people that can really claim that role as professional organizer.
So people ask how I got into it, and my response is always, it got into me.
I love it. I like that.
I have a short attention span, and I have a long career in corporate America.
Nice.
And I typically would go in and clean up accounting messes and get the office streamlined and running efficiently, and then I'd be bored. And so I'd be ready to move on to the next messy desk. And this kind of followed me, and then I realized, gosh, there's a business model here. Let's make this work. And so the processes that I use in a business are very similar to the processes I use when I work with my homeowners. It's very simple,
right.
And we apply the same principles in both settings.
What's the worst case you've ever seen?
Oh, goodness. Well, everyone thinks theirs is the worst.
Right.
And I get asked that a lot. Have you ever seen anything this bad before? The answer is always yes. We would never say, no, this is the absolute worst I've ever seen. But, you know, it just depends on the client. Paper and clothes are a big problem for a lot of people. Clothes, yes. Yeah. Shoes, purses, it all counts. Sometimes it's time. People don't have a handle on their time, and so they ask me to come in and help them get a better handle on, gosh, how can I get more hours out of my day, or how can I learn to set proper boundaries?
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, strategies. Mm-hmm. What strategies do you lay out for people who want to be organized, who want to keep organized 6 months to a year down the road? How do you implement that into a method for people to actually stay on top of it every day?
Okay, so I want to dispel a myth. There is no magic. Okay,
exactly.
So there's a very popular book out right now that talks about magic and tidying up, and there is no magic. There is work involved, and then there are systems that we put in place, and we come up with solutions together with my clients.
Right.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all, and we create solutions that the client is part of.
Yes.
So that when I leave, they know what they have to do to maintain it. They can call me back in if they want, but they don't have to, because they actually have the skill set now to stay organized.
So you're training them.
I do a lot of coaching and training, yes.
Growing up, where did you grow up?
In California, Southern California, yes.
Love it, beautiful weather, beaches.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself around your house, in your room, do this at a young age?
No.
It just kind of just came to you.
You know, it morphed through the years of the corporate
world. And corporate world can be the messiest.
They can be.
With
yes.
clutters and desks beyond desks. So tell me something, how does this help people, being organized?
Well, let me just give you an example. Helping someone organize their office, and when we were finished, she stood in the middle of her office and she threw up her arms and she said, I can breathe. Okay.
Amazing feeling.
It's an amazing feeling considering there was nothing on her chest.
Right.
It was the stuff in her environment. So our things hold us down, and they can be very heavy on us. So creating some space around it, creating free-flowing areas, and actually I love to call it supportive spaces.
Right. No, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
So what is your clutter? What's your definition of that? Or unorganized clutter? What's your definition?
Well, I think it's more important to go to where it affects us emotionally, because we have different tolerances for clutter.
Right.
Some people work just fine in a cluttered environment. They're not the people to call me. The people who call me are the ones that go, I can't breathe, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know where to start.
Completely stressed out.
They're totally stressed out.
So I think my underlining question is, when do they know they need somebody like you? when do they?
So there are a couple what I call flashpoints. One is you've tried before, and what happens when you don't have the stay with it that you need,
Yes.
you end up worse than you were. So in those cases, sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. It's even worse than it was. Call me. You don't have to live that way.
Right.
The better time to call me, though, is before you start that project. Let me come in as sort of a project manager and a guide and a coach, and let's get through this stuff once and for all.
So give me, really quickly as we're wrapping up, walk me through an office that's cluttered, messy, very unorganized. Walk me through and just give me a visual example so people can kind of...
Papers everywhere, files that we can't put our fingers on, multiple purchases of the same items. You can obviously apply this to closets and pantries as well. So multiple purchases, we're basically wasting time, money, and energy. And if any of those things are being wasted, being more organized can help bring that back to you.
Definitely. So how do you market yourself? Facebook, all social media, networking?
All over social media and face-to-face networking groups.
How has networking helped you out?
Oh gosh, you know what I do has a lot to do with trust. So having face-to-face relationships, actually building that trust factor is critical for a business like mine.
So me being involved in Networking 360, I always tell people you really have to get out, meet someone once, meet them twice, 3, 4, 10 different times. Now, when you're talking about your business, people sometimes might say, oh, I need an organizer. How do you follow up with them? How do you engage with them?
Well, I have a newsletter, of course.
Awesome.
I try to follow up with an email at least, preferably a phone call.
Right.
And just create those touches, because there is an incubation period typically for, you know, yes, I need help today, but I'm not ready yet, to getting to that place where, okay, we're ready.
And where do you see yourself from, let's say, a year from now, 2 years from now? Do you set goals? Do you want to be different cities? Or where do you see yourself?
Well, I'm finishing a book or two.
Yay!
Yeah, and doing more
awesome.
consulting. Consulting work. I love helping people get that weight off their chest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's definitely,
fun.
it's good when you can walk out of an office or a house and that person just feels like you just gave them a brand new world.
In control. In control.
And not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
So you started this from scratch, from ground up. Give me the best word of advice for any entrepreneurs, for anybody who has a hobby, and how do you grow into something like you did?
Well, the first most important thing is having a strong foundation.
Right.
So, you know, if you're going to actually have a business, and set it up like a business.
Right.
You know, work with a mentor if you need to, but get a separate checking account. You know, take it to that next level of, gee, this just seems like a kind of a fun thing to do, to actually making it a business. Invest in networking, learn what works, and understand that this is not an overnight proposition. It takes a while. And depending on the business, you know, I'm not selling insurance, which everyone needs to have.
Right.
So if you're in a service industry, your turn time can be a little longer.
I'm so happy that you're here today. I think you had some great feedback, and you said it the best. Really invest, take it seriously, and line everything up. And I think the best way for people to start being organized is to do it ahead of time by working with Andrea. So how can people get in touch with you really quickly?
My phone number is 480-382-1085, and my website is professionalorganizeraz.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I had a
It was
blast.
fun. Thank
And
you.
we are out.